God created dogs. So, I have decided to write this post as if I am the only person in the world who has had the unique experience of living life with a cat. The reason I have decided to take this approach is because while experiences may be similar for us humans, each cat is decidedly different in their temperaments and attitudes toward their human underlings. My experience begins with a dog, actually. Well, three dogs, and a trip to a sheriff's department on two separate summer days that went decidedly not as planned. On the first trip to the sheriff's department, I was going to complete some required paperwork for my licensure as a civilian firearms instructor after having retired from law enforcement. I had never been to the sheriff's department before, so I asked Siri for directions. Mistake number one. Siri ended up providing me with directions straight into the parking lot of animal control. Not knowing what else to do, I went to the door to see if someone inside could point me in the direction of the sheriff's department. That's when I heard the dogs barking. So I asked, "By the way, how many dogs do you have up for adoption?" Mistake number two. Their response was, "Oh, we only have one right now. His name is Russell. If you go around the corner of the building and call his name, he will come over to you." I must have looked like I had a foot growing out of the middle of my forehead when the lady said this to me, because anyone who knows anything about me will tell you that I am all about rescuing animals in need. So naturally, I had to go around the building and call Russell just to see what would happen, if for no other reason. And sure enough, he came running over to me just like that lady said he would. So I stuck my arm through the fence to pet him. Mistake number three. At which time he wrapped his front legs around my arm, pulled his body as close to the fence as he could get, and as he was squeezing my arm tight, I heard the words, "I'll be back to get you," fall out of my mouth. Although still not sure where the words came from or how he squeezed them out of me, not a mistake. So I found the sheriff's department and I went and got the other two dogs from home and brought them back to make an introduction to their new brother, Russell, now named Poncho. And then God created a kitten. About a month later, I had to go back to the sheriff's department. As I was driving by animal control, I looked up, as if talking to God himself, and said, somewhat wryly and with a smile on my face, "And I will not be adopting another animal today." After finishing my business at the sheriff's department, I drove back past animal control. I smiled again, feeling somewhat pleased with myself for not having adopted another animal. Only moments later, I pulled out onto the busy highway. It was rush hour, and I happened to notice that a small animal appeared to have been recently hit and killed and was lying on the roadway. I decided to pull over and try to remove its remains from the road. As I looked in my mirror, I was shocked to see it dodging oncoming traffic. "It's alive!" I exclaimed, as I now found myself racing to save this little one's life. I quickly backed up and jumped out of my vehicle alongside this very busy roadway. Once out of the vehicle, however, I realized the creature, a tiny kitten, had disappeared. Had it been hit? Did it escape? I checked the median. Nothing. I gazed across the field alongside the highway. Not a sign of the kitten anywhere. Suddenly, a thought struck me. Fortunately, it wasn't a car. I looked under my vehicle, and there she was. Somehow, as I was backing up toward her, and the other cars were coming at her from the other direction, she made a mad dash for it and found safety under my vehicle. Now what do I do? Well, I had few choices. If I tried to get her out from under my vehicle by myself, she might run out into traffic and get hit, and simply driving away was not at all an option. So I called animal control. Since they had just closed, it would be someone from the sheriff's department who would be coming out to help me. About 30 minutes later, a deputy pulls up. I explain the situation, and he grabs his catch pole. Within a brief moment, I find myself standing alongside a busy highway as this deputy sheriff holds an 8-week-old kitten up in the air and asks me, "Do you want to keep it?" Me, "Of course I do." Deputy, "Do you have something to put it in?" Me, "Of course I don't. I wasn't planning on rescuing an animal today." Note to self, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So, all that to introduce Chief Bootsy. As she has become an adult cat, she has pretty much become the ruler of the roost. I love her, and yet she freaks me out. This cat never sleeps. At approximately 3 o'clock every morning, I will wake up to her making biscuits on my face. Sometimes I wake up because I hear her purring right next to my ear. And when I open my eyes and look at her, she's just sitting there staring at me. How long has she been doing that? I reach over to pet her, and we're fine for a minute, but inevitably, she will bite me. Somewhere between 3:10 and 3:15 a.m., her auto feeder goes off. It is in that moment that I become her human racetrack. Beginning at about my face, or wherever she can first gain traction, she starts spinning her little murder mittens and literally races down the center of my body as she bolts to her feeder. Yeah, I'm awake. If she is not using my body as a racetrack, she is biting my bare feet in the middle of the night when I'm sleeping. Yep, I'm awake again. I think one of the most surprising moments was when I came out of my bedroom in the middle of the night and realized Bootsy was sitting there, just waiting for me in the hallway on the other side of my bedroom door. Because it was the middle of the night, the only light came from a small night light in the hallway. I saw Bootsy just sitting there, appearing to just be staring at the bedroom door. She has a kitty door to my bedroom, so nothing was preventing her from coming into the room. Then I vaguely noticed something lying on the floor next to her. I touched it with my bare foot. Mistake number 4. Oh, heck no! I turned on the lights, and that's when I realized what was going on. Bootsy had been patiently waiting to show me, her human underling, how it's done. Laying on the floor next to her was a dead water snake that she had apparently euthanized with one swift bite. I was shocked. First, because there was a snake that had managed to make its way into my home, but then to think, had I been successful in not adopting another animal on that warm summer's day, and had this cat not come into my life when she did, that snake just might still be lurking in the shadows of my home today. Good job, Chief. With humor in my heart, TJ.